everybody, welcome back to my kitchen. First, today I'm going to show you my deviled stuffed potatoes. They're like a deviled eggs, but they're with red potatoes. I boiled off about six potatoes. You can do 6 to 10 potatoes. Depending on the size, these are all kind of smaller and you don't want them real big, but they can be, the starch for the meal. They can just be a little appetizer. They're really good. But first of all, today, like I said, I boiled off 6 red potatoes. And once they're all boiled off, I'm doing kind of like a deviled egg. I'm hollowing out the center. The yolk is automatically hollowed out when you take the deviled egg. But to hollow it out, and they're nice and cool now, I don't do it when they're hot because they will fall apart. I got 1 tablespoon measuring spoon and just go in about 1/4 inch. And you don't want to put this all the way down in there, just a little bit to cut the surface, and just make a round cut. When you get back, turn it and scoop it out. That way, and throw this in there. That way you still have potato all the way through and you have a nice cup to hold your filling. So again, just put it in just shy of the side, turn it, and then dip it out. You got a nice little cut for it. So I'll put those aside there. I've also got 2 eggs that I boiled off, and I just threw these eggs in with the potatoes while they were boiling. I let them cook for 10 minutes. And then once the 10 minutes was up, I just took those out and let the potatoes continue boiling. Now I did put them in ice water as soon as I took them out. I found that it makes it a lot easier for them to peel. And these peeled really good. Unfortunately, the older the egg is, the easier it is to peel. So sometimes I worry about that. I get an egg that peels so well, I'm thinking, how old is that egg? And since I don't have chickens, and I've already ran out of the fresh eggs that I got from my friends Heidi and Matthias when I was in North Carolina, these are store-bought. So we're just going to chop those up, just like you're making an egg salad or putting them in potato salad. Get that all chopped up there. Put that in the bowl. And then my recipe calls for 4 strips of bacon. So I got 4.5 strips here. This is where you have to use the bacon conversion calculator in my kitchen. I needed 4 strips of bacon. So I take my 4 strips of bacon. I multiply that times 2 to get my 8. And then how many I think I'm going to eat would be 3 or 4 more. So, well, in the end, I just did the whole thing of bacon. And you can see what's left. I do have 4 or 5 strips sitting over here on the counter behind me that are going to go in the next recipe that you guys will be seeing tomorrow. But I always have to make extra because this bacon never, ever lasts. As I'm frying it, I gotta check it, make sure it's not too soft, not too crisp. Bacon's just great in anything. So we're just gonna chop this up and put that in here. Now I'm gonna reserve a few pieces of it, and we're gonna garnish the top so people can see what's in there, just like what you do with deviled eggs. Just put some green onions or something on top, or paprika. This, we're gonna put some bacon on top. So I will put most of the bacon in there. I'm gonna leave the little pieces for decorating the top. And I'm going to just go ahead, I've got a shallot in here. If you don't have a shallot, a small shallot, you can use like 1/4 of a sweet onion. You don't want real strong onion, you want it sweet. So go ahead and put that in, and then I'm gonna use this cup to reserve the rest of this bacon for the end. There we go. Don't waste any of that bacon. All right. So now I've also got about a tablespoon of chopped garlic that I'm gonna put in. A tablespoon of red wine vinegar. Actually, I think it's apple cider vinegar, not red wine. Apple cider vinegar, I put. And I've got 4 tablespoons of mayonnaise. You use your favorite mayonnaise. I know everybody's got a favorite. Some people like Miracle Whip, some people like Duke's mayonnaise. Just use what your family likes. This isn't a debate. And then I've got about 2 teaspoons of dried parsley. I'm going to put most of that in there. Like the bacon, I'm going to reserve some and put in at the end, or on the end, to decorate. And I use, in my recipe on my website, you'll see that I use whole grain mustard. I didn't have any, so today I'm just using spicy brown mustard. We're going to use about 2 tablespoons full, maybe a little more. Just like your potato salad and just like your deviled eggs. Everybody likes maybe a little sweeter, maybe not so sweet. Adjust it for the taste and what your family likes, and that's all you have to do. Now I've got a sad little 1/4 cup of cheese here. I never put this little of cheese in things, but that's what we're gonna do today because you don't wanna overdo it. So now we're just gonna go in and mash all this together. Get those potatoes chopped up a little bit. And just bring this all together. Now I have done this before. I put, instead of the full thing of mayonnaise in, I put sour cream in it. If you taste it and it's just a little too tart, you can put just a tad bit of sugar in there or honey. That would be good too. As you can see, it just kind of looks like a potato salad or egg salad coming together here. And this is just one of the different things you can put on your Thanksgiving table. Everybody has their own traditions. Everybody follows certain traditions our families just looks forward to. Like at my mom's house, I always look forward to her, well, up north they call it pot pie, but chicken and dumplings that she does with the flat dumplings like I do. I always knew that was going to be there. I always knew she was going to have her banana pudding. I always wanted that. But this is something I started probably about 8 years ago, 10 years ago. And everybody seemed to like it. Because my house is usually where all my friends come to. And they liked it. It's just something different. But now it's something they expect. And they're really happy to see and thankful to have. So we got that all pulled together. Let me clean up my mess here. Because I got a lot of stuff going on. All right. But I almost got it cleaned up. Now just bring your potatoes over. We're going to get 2 spoons. It's just easier to do. That's a little bit large. Let me get a regular size one. And we're just going to dip out enough to go in each one of the potatoes. And just so it mounds up just a little bit on top. So it kind of looks like a deviled egg. Some people don't call them deviled eggs. Some people call them stuffed eggs. I've heard all kinds of things. What do you guys call them? Put it down in the comments. I like to hear what everyone calls the different kinds of food from the areas that they live in. Some people call like chicken and dumplings. I got an argument with somebody because mine are flat. They said that's not a dumpling. Well, I grew up north in Ohio, and my grandma and my mom and everybody made them and called them chicken pot pie. So it just depends where you're from and what your family calls things. So leave below. Let me tell me what you guys call your stuffed eggs or your deviled eggs. Let me get these all done. Okay, but I'm thankful for my family teaching me the things they did, especially my mom, my aunts, my grandpa Cecil, my grandpa Norm, and grandma Jean, of course, taught me how to prepare things, Grandpa Cecil, when I was in high school, he said, boy, you need to take a home ec class. I don't even think they take or do home ec classes anymore. He goes, you need to take a home ec class. You need to know how to cook. You need to know how to sew. He said, you need to get out there and do everything because you don't know what the world's going to come to, and you need to be able to take care of yourself. And I did. I took a home ec class. I took a sewing class. He even had me take a typing class. And I was like, when am I ever going to type? This was before computers and everything. Now I can type just as fast as anybody. So I thank them for pushing me and, making me do the things that I didn't think I would ever do in my life. And especially my mom and grandma and everybody for teaching me how to can. Yesterday I put up, I think, 18 jars of turkey. I roasted 2 turkeys and put that up. So I have that can stable on my shelf. There's just I think it's just the past, the people in my past that I'm thankful for, that who made me what I am today. So, good or bad, if there's something bad about me, it's y'all's fault that made me this way. So here's our potatoes, all nice and stuffed. I'm going to finish them off with a little parsley, which I do sometimes on my stuffed potatoes, my stuffed eggs, deviled eggs, whatever you want to call them. I mean, you're gonna eat, and you're going to eat with your eyes first. I mean, when you walk in, you see something, you know if it looks good, it's going to be good. Well, we hope so. And then I'm just going to decorate the top with a little bit of this bacon, so people know that there's bacon in it, and they're going to want it, because I don't know anybody in my family who doesn't like bacon. And if they do, I'm so sorry. As we say, bless your hearts. Here we go. Just finish that off. And there is our deviled baked potatoes. They are delicious. I'm going to find the smallest one in here that I'm going to take a bite of. Of course, the smallest one's got the most stuffing. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go for this one over here. That is good. I did not taste this. I should have tasted it before I stuffed it, because I didn't know if I need more salt or pepper. I don't need any salt. Those are delicious. Excuse me if I have it on my lips. It tastes almost like a deviled egg, but then you got the texture and the creaminess of the potato underneath. These are delicious. Put these on your Thanksgiving table, on your any night of the week table. Your family's going to love these. They're just a bit changed from what they normally have, but give them a try. If you go to my website, gregs-kitchen.com, you'll see on the right-hand side, there's a little Thanksgiving agenda collaboration button. I'll put a picture of it right here. And go there, and it lists all of my recipes, from appetizers, desserts, main dishes, side dishes, everything. And you can go in there and pull out whatever you want, and it's all ready for you to print. Get your Thanksgiving ready. I hope you guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving. So I'll see you guys again soon. Take care, and love y'all. Bye-bye.
Hi, welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be making dressing. I love dressing. And if you do like I do, when I have 1 or 2 pieces of bread left over and the end piece, and it's getting a little bit old after about 2 or 3 days, you don't want it. So I always crumb it up, break it up, crumble it up, and I put it in a bag, and I just add to it until I need it. And today I needed it. So I've got probably about 6 slices of bread in there, and then I also use cornbread. My dressing that I'm making today is a sage dressing, because we love sage in our dressing, and I know there's all kinds of recipes for it, and very few use sage, but that's what I'm using. It's what my grandma used, and my dad loved it, and I just always made it with sage. You know, my husband really likes it. My son doesn't, but there's where he can make it his own way. And I just break my bread up, small pieces. If I'd have been smart last night, I'd have baked the bread before I went to bed. It would have been cold. That's okay. Anyway. But I've got my oven preheating to 375. And you'll want to bake it at 375 for probably about an hour. You can tell, check it, if it looks like it's done earlier. It doesn't. Everybody's oven isn't the same, so you know, it may take a little bit longer in yours than it does mine, or it may take longer in mine than it does yours. I don't know. So anyway. But I'm going to try it for 1 hour. I'll check it in between though. Now, once I get my bread all mixed, broke up, crumbed up, that'd be good with buttermilk over it. And just eat it like that. I love buttermilk and cornbread. That was something my daddy always liked. And sometimes that was his evening meal. He'd say, it's too hot outside to eat and all I want's a bowl of buttermilk and cornbread. And that's what he would have. Okay, we're going to bring those two together. And then I'm going to add in, I have these left over, it's celery. If I don't use something, I don't throw the rest of it away. I'm going to add this little bit of celery in it. It should be about a half a cup or close to it. And then I'm going to add my onion. That's about 1/4 of a cup. Of onion. And then I'm going to add some parsley. Parsley just gives it that kick. So we're going to add some parsley to it today. I usually don't do that unless I've got fresh, because if it's not fresh, I don't want it. So then I don't use it. So today we're going to use some fresh parsley in it. You want to chop that up really fine. Holidays are sneaking up on us, and this is one thing that we always have is our dressing. So I thought I would make some today and share my recipe with you. You might have a better recipe, but this was my grandma's recipe, so it's the one I use. I love cooking things that my grandma cooked. It reminds me so much of her, and she's been dead for several years now, and it just makes me feel good when I cook something that her and I cook together. She was 91 when she died, and she said she wasn't sick, she was tired. My uncle took her to the hospital and they were going to run a bunch of tests on her, and I was talking to her and she said, there's nothing wrong with my heart. And she said, now they want to run all these tests. And I said, oh, let them run them. Then my uncle will just let her alone and won't complain about it. And I said, we'll find out there's nothing wrong with your heart. So anyway, she said, okay. She lived in London, Kentucky. So I called back at the hospital and I told her, I said, hey, if Grandma's blood pressure changes, if her anything changes, I want to know it. I said, I can get to her quicker than anybody, and I want to know about it. So that night, I told her good night, talked to her on the phone, and we always said the same thing when we'd hang up, and told her I loved her, and she said, I love you. And I said, and I started to hang up, and she said, Vera. And I stopped because my grandma isn't very firm when she talks about stuff, but she said, I love you. And I said, I know you do, and I love you. Not knowing what she knew, that night about 10 o'clock, the nurse wanted to know if she wanted a pain pill, and she said, no, honey, I don't have any pain. I'm adding just a little bit of chicken to mine. And nurse came back, they called me, and when she was gone. And I was very upset because they were supposed to have called me sooner, but they didn't. And the nurse said I didn't have a chance to. She said, I asked her, I said, Miss Bessie, would you like a pain pill? And she says, nope, don't need one, don't have any pain. And they said, well, would you like a sleeping pill? Don't need one. And the nurse said it was just the most peaceful thing she ever saw. She said she just looked up at her, closed her eyes, and she was gone. Now, wouldn't it be great if we could all go that easy? But she knew ahead of time that was happening when she very firmly told me to listen to her. Because when my grandma said listen, I listened. I'm using a tablespoon and a teaspoon. 1 teaspoon and 1 tablespoon full of sage. But she was quite the lady. She lived on a farm all of her life, raised 3 sons by herself. Her husband, Grandpa, passed away when I think my dad might have been 9 or 10, and he was the oldest of the 3 boys. So she raised them by herself and worked hard. I know one year she said she had her canning done, and she would always, like it was a competition, she'd say, okay, how much did you can? And this time, I'm adding my chicken broth. This time she didn't do it that way. She just said, how many cans of green beans did you do? And I'm like, probably 30, 40. I forget. And I says, how many did you do? 600. What? I said, why so many? I said, Mamaw, you will never eat those. She said, someday somebody will need them. And the last year that she was living, when she went to the hospital, just before she went to the hospital, it was that same week, she said, I'd be proud of her because she cut back. And I said, well, good. And she did her own garden, everything herself. And she said, yes, I only canned 300 quarts this time. I'm thinking, oh my goodness. But she always believed that the more you gave away and the more you did. I used a pint of broth. And now I'm going to use some more. It's a good thing I saved this. But anytime there was a fire, a flood, or anybody was sick, they knew to go to Miss Bessie's because she would have the food for them, or she would have the quilt made for them, or a napkin. That's just what she did with her life after the boys were gone and she was alone. And Grandpa was gone, so she canned and cooked and sewed. Okay. I know you're going to say that has egg in it, Vera, but I'm going to taste it anyway and see if it's got enough sage in it. Probably. Then I'm going to put very little, but a little bit of salt in it and pepper. Okay. I think that's about what it should be. I'm going to add just a little more broth. I'm going to have used a quart of chicken broth. Now this is my broth that I made out of my chicken that I did in the crock pot. I added to it a little bit of water off and on because it kept making really good chicken broth. And I don't like to buy it at the store if I don't have to, because I know what's in mine. But if you've never done it before, and you may have, take and do your chicken. I did a chicken last night. Do it in your crock pot because it works great. And it's perfect for just 2 or 3 people when you don't want to fix that big turkey or something like that. Now that is enough, for you. Just put it in your crock pot, and then you'll also have a lot of chicken broth. Now me, I have more because I kept adding more water to it and everything as it was cooking, baking, so that I would have it, because I don't like buying it. I like fresh. Okay, now we're going to put this in a 9x9 pan, and we're going to bake it for about an hour at 375. But even if you want turkey for Thanksgiving or Christmas one, or I have it just all year round because we like turkey. But if you want to have it and you don't think, no, I'm not going to do it, that's just too much, get a turkey breast. Get yourself a turkey breast and put it in your crock pot. And then you'll have your turkey, and it won't be too much. It'll be just enough for you and 1 or 2 other people. And I do that a lot. I'll put it in a crock pot. Okay. Make it because there's just 2 of us. And there's times that my grandkids or my daughter will want some, but if not, I do a turkey breast in the crock pot. Now there's my dressing. I am going to put it in the oven. I've been preheating my oven, so I'm going to put it in the oven at 375 for about an hour, and then we'll be back. Okay, we're back. Dressing's out of the oven. Looks good. Smells yummy. Well, I'm going to do like I always do, and I'm going to burn my mouth, but it'll be worth it, I'm sure. Very good. Very good, even though it's hot. Okay, now I'll have the directions and the recipe and everything posted down below. If you have any questions, let us know. We'll try to answer them. And try it for Thanksgiving or Christmas one, because I know you're going to love it. It was great being here today in the kitchen with you guys. I'm glad you joined me, and I hope to see you again real soon, and I'll have another video out with another recipe soon. So thank you bunches.
Hey y'all, welcome back to my kitchen. Today I am answering one of my emails from y'all, Debbie, who lives in New York City. says my husband and I cannot eat an entire turkey, do the entire dressing, all the sides and such. Our apartment is too small. Our kitchen will not hold all that. Plus the two of us would never eat it all. Can you suggest what we could do for a small Thanksgiving dinner in our little New York apartment? I can, Debbie. Instead of getting a turkey, you can sometimes get a smaller turkey, but they are large. We're going to do one with just chicken breasts. I have 3 chicken breasts here. I'm going to show you how to put this together. Now, you're probably not going to make your own homemade stuffing. You probably don't have the bread, the cornbread, all that stuff stored up in the freezer. You can get the Pepperidge Farm already prepared stuffing mix. This one is 12 ounces for $2.99. I could not believe when I went and bought this. I used to get the big bag of it for like $1.50, $2. Prices are crazy. Okay, so for 2 of you, this is a 12 ounce. I'm just going to use half of it, half the bag. And we're going to save this other half because I have another recipe I'm going to show you later on, and you could also do that. So we're going to take the stuffing mix. We're going to put in, this is just Holy Trinity mix, peppers, onions, and green peppers. Green peppers, onions, and celery. Get it right, Holy Trinity. I also bought this in a little container at the grocery store. It was already chopped up, so you don't have to buy all of it, a whole thing of celery because you may not use it all the onions and peppers like that. So you can get this. I'm doing this exactly how I would do it if I was in a little place and I didn't have all the storage. This is already pre-cut up and just enough for me. So there's about a cup of there, so maybe a third a cup onion, third a cup of pepper, third a cup of celery if you are going to be doing it yourself. Put that over there. And I'm going to use about 3/4 to a cup of chicken stock. I'm using my homemade chicken stock. You can buy it's already in a can or in a box. Smells so good. And I'm going to use just about 3/4 to a cup. I just want to moisten this up a little bit and get it starting to reconstitute, because we don't want it to be dry and put in here with the soup and the milk mixture, because it will absorb all that and it'll end up very dry. So we want this kind of moist. I probably used about a cup of, maybe a little bit more of stock. Now you could go right at this point. It's already got seasonings in that. If you're using your dried breadcrumbs and everything, I'll put my homemade stuffing mix down below, or if you call it dressing, some people call it dressing, some people call it stuffing. I'll put that down below too if you want to use your own homemade like I do. I'm going to set this aside. I am going to put an apple in here. I just like the flavor, the sweetness the apple adds to dressings or stuffings. I've already washed it. I'm not going to peel it. I like the peel on it. Plus it adds a little color. We're just going to dice these in about 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch pieces. Okay. You just put those in the stuffing as well. I just think it adds a nice little flavor to it. And apples are plentiful right now. You can buy them 1 or 2 a piece at the store. And so Debbie, this is something you could add in there, just to add a little bit of flavor and texture. Get these all in. Now, before anybody yells at me, because I don't have a towel under my cutting board, these have rubber legs on them. They do not move. So they're perfect for this. If I was just using a regular cutting board or a wood cutting board, yes, I would put a wet wash rag or towel underneath it. For those of you who don't know, that just keeps it from slipping, and it can slide easily when you're cutting something. And these knives, they should be sharp, and you can cut yourself. Actually, if it's a dull knife, you can cut yourself a lot easier too. Get that in there. And the last one. But like I said, this is totally optional. You can use an apple, you could use a pear, you could use dried cranberries if you like fruit in your dressing or stuffing, whatever you want to call it. You can just add whatever you like in there. So I'll put that all in there. Get that mixed together. Looks like my chicken stock's about gone. It's all being absorbed by the breadcrumbs. Okay. I'm gonna set this aside and I'm going to get my chicken. Now, I was gonna remind you, if you don't have chicken stock, you don't wanna buy a whole box of it because you won't use it. You can get this better than bouillon. I use it all the time. There's all kinds. I got the roast beef. This is the chicken, garlic, onion. There's all kinds, and this is really good. All you gotta do is about a teaspoon full of it and 8 ounces of boiling water, and it mixes real well. So let me get this over here out of the way, the chicken stock. Save that for later for another recipe. I am going to take my chicken now. These are some big chicken breasts. I don't know what they feed these chickens and stuff they put in them, but this isn't the size a chicken breast should be. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take and put some cuts down into it, about 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch. This will not only help it cook quicker, but it's also going to put my seasonings down in there. Now, usually I use salt, pepper, garlic powder, some paprika, different things to season the meat. Let me turn this on to get it started. Put a little oil in here because we're going to brown the chicken. But I decided, since you may not have all those spices, Debbie, you can grab this. It's just poultry seasoning, Southern blend. And I've already touched my hand on that one. So let's try to do this. I don't want to try to keep this in the dirty hand. Just season the meat and open up those little cuts and get some down in there. It's going to add flavor, like I said, but it's also going to help cook a little quicker because the heat can penetrate down in there. And turn it over. And I am going to cut off this piece of fat. We don't need that in there. Okay. So keeping this hand clean, as good as possible. I'm going to scoot this one over, get out another chicken breast, which is going to do the same thing to all 3 of these. Cut off that fat piece there. Now, if you have regular sized chicken breasts that aren't 3 inches thick, you don't have to do this. I just like to do it just to cook a little better and get these seasonings down in there, flavors it more too. Get the oil burning. And the last one. Get rid of this bag. Get rid of that, excuse me, fat. Now, if you want, you don't have to brown the chicken first. I'll get that off my cutting board or my butcher block. You don't have to brown it first. I always think it adds more flavor if you brown the meat before you bake it. But you can bake it perfectly fine this way. One thing I found, if you're just baking it and you're not browning it so it doesn't look so pale, put some paprika on top. Paprika will give it that kind of cooked look, like it's been grilled a little bit or browned. Okay, that seems a little hot. So let's just put these in there. A little bit more in here. There we go. And Deborah, if you haven't been cooking a lot, like you said, and you're trying to learn, the reason I'm keeping one hand clean and the other that touch the chicken is you want to make sure you don't spread salmonella that could be in the chicken. So always try not to, whatever you touch with this hand, don't touch everything else. I'm going to get this stuff out of the way. Okay. Now I've got a 9x13 pan that I'm going to use. I'm going to let that brown. I don't want that high. Now, I'm using cream of chicken soup. I usually make my own, but I make about 3 or 4 of them at a time, so that'd be a little much for you. You can use cream of chicken, You can use cream of celery, cream of mushroom, cream of bacon I've used before. We're just going to make a, kind of like a gravy that's going to go over this. Get all that goodness out of there. And I'm going to put about 2/3 cup of milk. And just bring that all together. Oops, as I'm making a mess. You get some tongs. Got some good color on that. It's going to add good flavor. Could have used a bigger pan, but these chicken breasts are crazy. These are about the size of a turkey breast. Okay, let them continue cooking. I'm going to clean up my mess a little bit here. Okay. I don't know if you guys have seen these for opening your canned goods. One of you guys sent those to me. It's pry-lid. You can't buy them anymore. They don't make them. Like order them to a store or anything. Get them on eBay. I've seen them on eBay. I never had one. My grandma Jean had one of these. I loved it and mentioned it in one of my videos a long time ago. And somebody sent this to me. So look on eBay. Actually, I saved the paper that it came on, little cardboard. And that's exactly how it came, just like that. It's called pry-lid. So check out eBay. I mean, these are great. They don't bend your lids. They don't put little dents in them or anything. All right, let's get the chicken. It is just about brown. I want to spray this pan. Just keep everything from sticking to it. All right, now we're going to take the turkey. I'm telling you, these things look like turkey breasts. These big old chicken breasts. I'm just going to lay them in the pan. And you could usually put 4 to 6 chicken breasts, but like I said, these are massive. It scares me what they're feeding these chickens to get them so big that we're putting in us. So I can't wait to get on my farm and raise my own. Let me get this off the heat. So we got the chicken laid out in the bottom. We're going to pour the soup mixture and the milk right over top of it. I just put a little bit on each one and just pour the rest out. There you go. Then we're going to get the stuffing. And we're going to spoon this all on top and around. And you know what? Like I always say, my hand's the best in here. I just washed it. You all saw me wash it. This is the easiest part because I want to put some right on top of the chicken. Get some of those flavors that's in the chicken that I seasoned with into the stuffing, and some of the seasonings from the stuffing down into the chicken. Whoops. Stuffing overboard. And just take the extra stuffing and lay along the sides of it. All right, pretty good. Let me wash my hands again. Now I've got the oven, I think you heard it a second ago, it's heated up. It just preheated to 400 degrees. We're going to bake this at 400 degrees for about 20 minutes. And then we're going to uncover it and cook it another 25 minutes. You want to make sure that the temperature of your chicken is at least 165 degrees. So if you don't have a meat thermometer, cut into it, make sure it's not pink. But it's always good to have a meat thermometer. I hate new boxes of this stuff because it always just tears. Kind of like tearing tape. You don't get all the pieces together. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Oh my gosh, it's working for me. Great. Now, let me show you another trick. If you ever went, especially when it's a little bit empty and you go to pull it and the whole roll comes out. I did not know this till someone showed me about 2 years ago. There's little things you can push in on each side of this box. Oops. And that holds the tube in there. It's not gonna fall out. Crazy, never knew that. So we're going to cover it. And like I said, I'm going to put it in the oven, 400 degrees, already preheated, 20 minutes. Then I'm going to uncover it, cook another 20, 25 minutes. Make sure it gets to 165 at least on the chicken. So I'll see you in a little bit. It's going to be just a second for you. It's going to be about an hour for me. Okay, y'all, we're back. I just got this out of the oven. These things actually, instead of cooking 20 minutes covered and 25 minutes uncovered, they cooked about 35 minutes uncovered. I've just been checking the temperature to make sure they're at least 165. I'm at about 170 to 178. So we're good. You just want to make sure it's over 165 so you don't have any chances of salmonella poisoning. I'm gonna put this up. And let's see, I'm gonna have to get me a little light back here. I'm going to taste this. It is bubbly hot. Let me taste the stuffing first. Oh, got some apple in there. That's delicious. The creaminess of the soup with the dressing, that's real good. Now let me get a piece of the chicken. It's nice and moist. Oh my gosh, look at all that steam coming off there. I'll cut a little piece off of there. Oh, dripping on me. Great flavor. All those seasonings are down into the chicken. Soup mix, nice and creamy. This is delicious. So Deborah, you can do this with chicken breast. You can even go to Whole Foods. There's a market there in New York and get one turkey breast. That's all you need. And you can put it across here. You could even cut it up a little bit if you want slices so it's not as thick. Like I said, these chicken breasts are crazy big. So usually the ones I would use would be a little smaller, and about 4 to 6 in here. But with this one, I had these 3, so that's what I used. So give this a try. It's real easy. I'll have the recipe down in the description box below, and I'll have it at my website, gregs-kitchen.com, so you guys can print it out there. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and the bell so you know when I post a new video. And please, please, please give it a thumbs up like on there. It helps get out to everybody on YouTube. Again, thank you for joining my kitchen. I feel blessed. Have a great day. Bye-bye.